Right, so just going to do an introduction and what your best Marine moment so far has been. So start with you, Mark.
Matt, been watching Marine for what, five years-ish now? Yeah, started watching when I came up for uni. Best Marine moment. I think I've got to say in honour of their moving on to the fourth round today after beating a Derby under sevens side. That day at Chorley was amazing, was fantastic, one of the very, very best.
Mark next.
Yeah, well, I'm going on to my 9th year this month. So I'll probably say my favourite game was probably the first game I went to, because that was the game that made me want to go again. I think we played Hensford. It was at the end of January in 2012 with Kevin Lynch's team, and I think we won 1-0. I think Harvey scored, he chipped the keeper, and I started going every 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned to every week, and then, you know, the rest is history, basically. So even though it's probably not the most significant game, it was significant in me watching Marine, should we say.
Go on, Phil.
I've been a season ticket holder now for about 5 years, I think. Favourite game, bit of a toss between two, really. Probably tough one, really, because Scarborough away in the League Cup final, getting beat 1-0 so long. Last few minutes, seconds, scores 2 goals, we were 2-1. That was a good day, but obviously Dover away, probably one of the longest domestic aways Marine would ever go on. And it was just an all-round belter day, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Apart from the result, and we were unlucky on the day as well, so probably Dover away for me, really.
Yeah, go on, Jamie.
Yeah, started out actually writing about Marine for the local paper, the Crosby Herald, 11 years ago, and kind of caught the bug then, and just then became a supporter of the team. So I've seen a few more games than some of you, but most of them have been rubbish. So I think best memory I've got is like Phil says, I think I love the away games, the long away games, you know, the travel and the banter, and we went to Stamford once, which is like about as far as you can go in the Northern Prem. And it's actually my dad's hometown, and my dad came with me, and we got to go to Stamford. Were playing at their ground for the last time before they moved to a new ground, and it was my dad went there when he was a kid, so it was very emotional for him, and we went together as father and son, and it was just a lovely day. We won as well, so it was a really nice day. That was my best memory.
Stamford's further than Grantham, so shows your fathers. Go on, Adam.
So for me, it's been about 5 years following Marine properly now. I think there's 3 games really that I can't pick between. That was Darlington at home in the FA Trophy, where we came from behind to win that one. The crowd and everything was just electric.
That was a great game.
Yeah, absolutely electric. And then Chorley away was absolutely brilliant from start to finish. And then the whole Dover, from how we performed in the game, the day itself, and the shenanigans in the day and the night, all round brilliant trip. So yeah, it's hard for me to try and pick between the 3. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say all 3 for me.
I put Josh last because he's going somewhere. So, but anyway, Josh.
Punishment.
In official capacity, can I just add that, by the way? Yeah, so I started 2016 going to Marine, and one night I was kind of bored at the loose ends. Thought, I'll go down and watch them. And it was an FA Cup. It was like a reverse fixture in the FA Cup. We lost, but I kind of got the bug there. I was still going to Liverpool and that at the time. And like I think Mark mentioned before, I soon stopped going to Liverpool pretty soon after. I always remember the following game after that. Can anyone remember St. Neots Town in the league?
Yeah. It was like a big scrap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and it was just carnage from beginning to end, wasn't it? And there was allegations, and that was my second ever game. And since then, I just caught the bug, to be honest, as you can imagine. So it just grew on me really, and then I think getting to know you lads and stuff as well, and Michael and Phil and stuff. And best game. I mean, we had a good away day. Anyone remember Abbott and Collieries? Phil was that blasted he fell into a post box getting off the minibus.
I was just about to say, I can only remember I can only remember the first half, the game, that game.
It doesn't revolve around Dale all the time.
Was that the Congo?
That was
When we
the
did
Congo,
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I think Phil was on his 4th bottle of whiskey at the time, so it's my best game's got to be Chorley away. The Dart saves. He was just one of my best away games. Like we went 1-0 behind and we pity early, and then afterwards, and I remember we swapped ends, didn't we, in the second half, and we'd all danced. And I think like the fans and everyone and the players were just so together that stuck out for me. And I think you kind of wondered if we were going to get them days back again. I think we would have done this year, but without fans, I couldn't go to Dover as my missus went into labour, so that scuppered that. So yeah,
selfish.
Best game.
Do you know what
I was that no one's mentioned? Salford at home.
No, I didn't think it was that good.
Brilliant. Salford at home. 2,000 in there. My abiding memory from that Salford game was because that was when they were top of the conference, wasn't it? And they were on their way up.
Yeah,
they had Adam Rooney playing for them up front, former Swindon Town striker Adam Rooney.
Yeah.
And he was we were stood on the down at the stand end, and he was coming over to take a corner. And obviously, I remember watching him play for Swindon, and I shouted at him, "Rooney, that overhead kick against Oldham was an effing fluke, you ginger." And he's looked at me and just gone, "What? Like, what on earth?" And I was like, you know. He just looked at me like, what? But that day, I will always remember, we were on South Road before having a few drinks. And we got a taxi up to the ground. And we got outside the ground and we just thought, just the sea of people. Because there was about 2,000 there that day, I think.
I think it was about 17 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was just brilliant to see so many people just like in the garden, outside the ground. It was amazing. That's just what I've remembered. That was a brilliant day.
And that's the shame of the season as well, isn't it, now? Because we would have rode on the back. We would have rode on the wave, wouldn't we? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Winning game after game. The crowds would have increased. And, who knows what we would have been looking at for tomorrow. Obviously, it would have been a sellout, but I mean, just in general, league games, FA Trophy.
Yeah.
We would have doubled 800, 900,000. They're easy.
The next one's Neil's tenure, yeah. So obviously when he joined, he was 5 games in, weren't he? We did get relegated, but since we started, we got a 71% win percentage. So what's your thoughts on Neil Young's time at the club? We'll start with Mark.
Was that
Matt or Mark?
That's the problem.
It is. Well,
I haven't got that much to add, to be honest, because obviously being back down here, I haven't been able to get to that many games. And obviously this year, I haven't been able to get to any game. But I think the biggest testament is that we went down, and obviously that was a huge disappointment for everyone, especially given it was sort of the 125th anniversary year. But with anything, it's not about how you get knocked down, it's how you get back up, if you know what I mean. And I think last year, had the season have finished, we would have had a very, very good shot at going up. We had a very good team last year. And as we've seen this year, with obviously the cup run and stuff, this is a hell of a team. And you've got to think if things were normal, and if we were playing all the games, we would have a very good chance of walking this league. So I think it's a testament to what Neil's done. And just the change in the atmosphere around the club. I started watching under Hesse, and it always felt like an atmosphere of pessimism. This is the first time when I've started watching Marine that it felt optimistic, and I think that's the biggest legacy he's going to leave. If he ever does leave, whenever he does leave, that's going to be the biggest legacy.
Yeah.
Go with you, Mark.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like touching on what Matt said, his recruitment's been really good. After when I watched, Kevin Lynch's recruitment was pretty good. He used to bring in a good balance of different, experienced players, ex-league players and stuff like that. But Hesse was a bit hit and miss. There'd be like 1 in 4 players he'd bring in would be really good. But there seems to be a really good level of balance in the players he's bringing in. He's bringing in veterans that he knows, like David Raven and stuff, who can do a job at this level, and also help the younger players. But I don't know, he's just got a really good eye for a young player. And he's obviously got the connections as well with Salford and Southpaw and all that sort of stuff. He's got the connection, and you need that at this level, but yeah, I mean, he's been really unlucky on his first season as we're going down and that. But as a coach himself, he's approachable, and the players seem to like him, from what I've heard, which is a big thing. Like, and I mean, you only got to look at his records. Like, you know, what did he do? He did 4 seasons at Chester, and he got 3 successive championships. You know, promotions at our level as well, which is what we need. So yeah, no, it seems like he's got a really good blend, and the recruitment's good, and hopefully he can keep this team together for next year, whatever happens this season and so on. You know, that's the probably the next thing I'm thinking of now. Can he keep this team together? But yeah, overall, I'm happy with him. I'd love him to stay. Like, you know, after, you know, the Hesse era and things like that, this is like a good era to be a Marine fan.
What would you, Phil?
Just to add really to what the lads have said there, you look at the squad that we've got there now, probably a good 50% of them have been there now at least a couple of years. Strickland's been there for about 4, Jemana was. And you look at all the lads who are playing regularly, who we got? Barragan, Miley, Solomon Davis, Jay Devine, who else? Ellison. There's loads of lads there who we signed probably 2 years ago, or coming up to 2 years, who are still playing regularly in the squad. And like Mark said, you know, everyone seems happy in the group. There never seems to be any incidents. You know, we don't get that many yellow cards. The morale in the squad looks good. You know, it's shown on the pitch that the lads stick together. They all work hard. They obviously enjoy playing for the club and playing for Neil. So, I mean, like I say, it's a testament to Neil. They're like, when Michael was speaking to him the other day, and he said about, you know, when he left football and then he came back to be a sort of director of football type role at Halifax or whatever exactly it was. He's obviously got them connections there, hasn't he? And it's been proven right. I mean, you look at this season as well, the quality he's brought in. Look, Hamami's come in. We've had Wignall come in. We've had Neil Kenny come in. You know, there's 3 quality players who've come in straight away, and they're all at the ground running. So, I mean, I think he's done really well, to be honest with you, and got no complaints from me, really.
You know, just touched on that, Phil. You know, you're saying about like his recruitment. I remember the loan players he used to have over the years. Like none of them have been groundbreaking, but if you look at his loans that he's brought in, they've all been good players. Like they fitted in the squad.
Yeah.
You know,
but like you're saying there as well, if you look at all the signings, you know what non-league football is like. It's a bit of a merry-go-round at times, isn't it? Someone comes in, they're gone in a week, they're there a few weeks, doesn't work out, whatever. You look at all them signings, like I say, half the team there now at least have been there a couple of years, which is unusual in itself, really. Yeah. So, you know, it's a bit of a settled squad, isn't it? So, you know, he must be doing something right.
Who are you, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing. I was when Neil was made manager, I was actually covering Chester every game for the paper over there, and I remember when he signed for Marine, they were going to me, "You've got a good manager there." I mean, he's a god over there. I mean, they literally worship the ground he walks on, and there was a real shock actually when we got relegated. But you know, I remember talking to Chester fans who were saying, "Keep hold of him; it will come good," and I think it really has, and that just shows. I think a lot of credit has to go to the board as well, because I think I mean, I've been sort of watching Marine for over 10 years now. And to me, his appointment was one of the first times where it actually showed some real ambition from the club. You know, he was like, they didn't just go for like the sort of easy option. You know, there was like, it wasn't like one of the senior players, a player manager, or, you know, when Tommy Lawson came in, he was a local guy who kind of, you know, was like the next cab off the rank. You get that a lot in non-league football, don't you? You get the merry-go-round of the same managers. They've all managed the same clubs in the same region, but so I think getting Neil was quite an ambitious step. You know, he's relatively young as well, and I think hopefully he could stay around. I mean, I presume he doesn't want to go full time at the moment, or he probably would. I'm sure he would have had offers to go full time, but you know, hopefully he can stay with us for a while. But I think he knows this level like the back of his hand, and that's really been shown in his loan deals and the moves he's made for players. And I think the way he's been with us, the fans, and the kind of humility he's shown around the club and the kind of way he's built the atmosphere up is so important. Kevin had a bit of that when he was there. Kevin knew what was important, but that really got lost with people like Carl McCauley, and you kind of lost that sort of connection between the players, the fans, and the management. But it feels really good at the moment. It feels like the whole place is buzzing.
But you, Adam?
Yeah, so when he came in, I always remember me and you both were doing an interview with him. And remember, there was a journalist there from the non-league paper, and he said to us, "This is you've got one hell of an appointment here. How you've convinced him to come in, I don't know. You're very lucky." And we knew he'd done a great job at Chester and how well revered he was there. So, as I was mentioned before, it was the first time since I've been following Marine that there was a sort of a real optimism. There was a bit of a push going on, something we hadn't seen before. Obviously, when Tommy came in, Tommy was brought in to sort of do a job of just keep us in the league. Tommy did great getting us cup runs. Absolutely, he gave us some amazing days out. But I remember that first day at home watching the warm-up. And there was cones getting put out and there was drills going on. And it's something that I hadn't seen at Marine before. And there was just this air of professionalism and standards that would be met. And I remember one player who's since left Marine saying he's never been ran so hard in his playing career as what Neil was running the players. And so from that and how available he makes himself to speak to supporters to where we are now, it's been incredible. The club really backed him. Who knew that relegation would bring about such optimism for the future? But it really has. Everything's so positive around the club. We've seen everything change for the better. Everyone seems to know what they're doing. Everyone seems to be pulling in the same direction. You've got to say, his tenure, he said to us the other day, you always, as a manager, want to leave the club in a better position than what you came in. And there's no question about that. Should and whenever Neil calls it a day with Marine, he's leaving the club in a much better position than it was when he first came in.
Josh?
Yeah, absolutely agree with Adam there, by the way. And I think Jamie mentioned it a little bit as well about like previously under Tommy Lawson, and that was kind of the football I was used to when I first started. And I think the recruitment as well, like you've just said, anyone remember under Lawson, like we went through players, like we went through hot dinners, didn't we? Like you'll turn up and look at the team sheet, and you're like, who the hell is that? And then you wouldn't see them again. Yeah. And it was just constant, wasn't it? And he'd have maybe 4 or 5 players, and then the rest would just change willy-nilly.
He'd sign players as well that you'd never play. He'd say we'd sign so, and you never see him, he's gone, like you said,
I remember we signed some player once, and I think he hadn't played, I don't think it was 6 months or 7 months because of an injury, and then played on like a Tuesday night, and then didn't see him again. It was like, what's the point of this? Like, and it was weird, wasn't it? We had more players under Lawson, but we've got a far better squad now than with like 16, 17 players. It's crazy. Like, he's so shrewd, isn't he? What he's done, he's brought in players like Miley, which at the back was one of our biggest issues. Wasn't it? He brought Andy in, and it just solidified. It doesn't lose a header. Then even with David Rain this year, I think probably a couple of us were a little bit like, that seemed a strange move. But after like the first game, it was just seamless, wasn't it? And that's probably says a lot about his coaching and his methods. And we were at one of the hospitality events last year, and you're right about like how approachable it is and how much he talks. And I think he was only meant to talk for about 10 minutes, and he was still there half an hour later fielding questions and stuff. And I always remember one of the biggest things he said, he got asked about recruitment, and he still got scouts and like his former networks and stuff, and they still do a lot of work for them, and he still keeps in close contact with them. So I think that's why his recruitment is so good. And then finally, I think Adam just mentioned it then, the relegation was the best thing that could happen to this club, hands down. I don't care what anyone says, it was the best thing that happens. I know we're in a lesser league as such, but I think with that old team, old setup that we had, we'll struggle in this league. But we just look a cut above, don't we? Just look a level above everyone else, really. And I think testament to the board for getting Neil on board as well, but testament to them for listening to the fans as well. Like, I spoke to a couple of you guys, and Michael especially, and you just put ideas forward, and you've listened to that. And I think we're seeing that now off the pitch, and we're starting to reap the rewards a little bit. So,
yeah. Next one I'm going to go to the Cup run. Now, we beat Bonaldswick, Frickley, Nantwich, Chester, Colchester, and Hamilton Waterlooville. Just going to have my piece on it. The one thing I've been impressed with is like the discipline. You know, we play good football, but you know, against Colchester, they never looked like really scoring. Even when we conceded, I thought, God, this is going to be tough now, but it wasn't. Just, as I said, the discipline and obviously the football we're playing. So I'm just going to go with Matt first and see what you say.
It's a bit of a weird one for me, because I imagine, again, I'm a bit different to you guys in that, because given the situation, I haven't been able to get to a game this year because I'm down here in Swindon, so I haven't, which is really frustrating, because this is probably the best period I've ever had watching Marine in terms of just how it's been. So the first game I watched was the Chester game, and the thing that struck me most from that Chester game was, I mean, this was when we were still allowed to have people in our houses. And one of my best mates, who lives just around the corner from me, came round and watched it as well. And about 25, 30 minutes into the game, he said to me, couldn't tell you which team's in the higher league here. He sat there and said to me, we're playing Chester, who are what, 2, 3, 4 divisions above us? I don't know off the top of my head. But he said to me, I genuinely could not tell you which team is the higher up here. And obviously we end up winning that game the way we do. The thing that stuck, I'm not going to talk about the games too much, because I imagine all you guys have got loads to say on those. The thing that has struck me about this cup run, and again, I'm in that position of being sort of down here outside of the Crosby bubble, is the way that it's snowballed. And the way that with every passing game and with every moment, I've had more and more texts on my phone, more and more messages from all my mates down here who, frankly, used to laugh at me for coming to, for particularly once I moved back here. I still remember, it was a bank holiday Monday, Lancaster away. I reckon I must have got up at about 4 or 5 a.m. And I've done that a few times, got up at 4 or 5 a.m. to drive up for game. And a couple of nights before, me and my mates were out in the pub, and I said, oh, lads, come on, come down. We'll get you a spot on the bus. It'll be good fun. And they were like, yeah, we'll do that. Whereas now, they're genuinely saying to me, I want to go. They're saying to me, once we're allowed fans, let's get up, let's get and do a weekend, and let's go. And more, I had people, like my mates, asking me if I could sort them a ticket for this Tottenham game. And I was like, I mean, I don't even know if I'll sort myself a ticket, so not thinking about you lads. But just the interest and the way it snowballed, in that I had my mates texting me, asking me where they could get Marine scarves. Can I buy Marine shirts? I want a Marine pair of trackies. I want a Marine quarter zip. When the virtual tickets thing happened, all my mates were like, yes, get in. And it was the Colchester game, most of them watched it. The Havant game, all of them watched it. And now this game tomorrow, my phone's been blown up for a week. I have people coming up to me at work asking me about it. I have my students, because I have my Marine FC mug at work, and I also often take that into the classroom when I'm drinking. I had students coming up to me. I had one student who was a Tottenham fan asking me to get him a ticket. And I was like, you cheeky so-and-so. But the way this is snowballed, and the way now, the biggest impact this is going to have for me, and I like all the games and stuff, and all, the biggest impact this is going to have for me is that the name Marine is known across, everyone knows it now. Everyone knows who we are now. We're not just some pub team playing the dog and duck, which is exactly what my friends used to say. Why are you off to go and watch a pub team play the dog and duck?
Yeah.
Everybody knows who we are now, and everybody realises this isn't a joke. This isn't something we do just so we can stand there and get absolutely bevied and not pay attention to the football, even though that is the main point of the enterprise.
Yeah, that is the main
point. There is actually some football involved, and they're actually quite good. They're actually very good at football, and actually I've always said it, because I go and watch Swindon a lot, who are obviously playing in League Two. And I used to say to my mates, the difference in quality between League Two and the Northern Prem is not that big. And they would all go, yeah, right. Well, now I've been proven right, haven't I? And that's the biggest thing that this is going to take away from me, no matter what happens tomorrow. Because let's all be honest, we're probably going to get bingo at about 27-0. But that's the biggest thing I'll take away from this, is that now all of my mates, everyone I know, knows the name. They know who we are. They know what we're about. And they're always going to have a positive image of Marine Football Club, this little club in the north of Liverpool. And it's amazing. But I'll shut up now because I've been talking for a while.
Mate, if we win tomorrow, this is going viral.
Go with you, Matt.
I'm not going to say too much about the FA Cup games. I mean, I just thought everything we said about Mr. Young before, like his team, they never give up, like full 90 minutes, and it's shown in every game that we played, and even like just the pure tenacity of the players, you know, the way they played, and you know what Matt was saying about like you can't bridging gaps between divisions and stuff like that was down to Neil and the players. You know, it wasn't. You know, it doesn't matter what league we were in. They just never gave up. And one of the things I'm taking out of this, I was thinking about this today. I was thinking like, you know, maybe we will get beat 30-0 or something. I don't know. But I thought to myself, okay, so 125 years, we've had one relegation. Yeah. Like 40 years in the NPL, whatever. And I thought, this is karma. This is like, we deserve this. We deserve this shot at the Spurs. We deserve the money. We deserve the hype. We deserve the media. Because it's 125 years we got relegated that season, you know, building up to it. And I thought maybe this is a little bit of sunshine, you know, coming at the end of that. You know, that's how I'm viewing it anyway. And I'm just going to enjoy the whole occasion. Like, you know, even if it might be the last game of the year, I don't know. But yeah, that's all I have to say on it, to be honest.
Well, Phil.
It's a tough one to really add to. It's one of them where every season you always want a nice cup run, don't you? You'd always think you see teams on the telly from the similar league or, you know, a little league above, and they're getting into the first round, the second round, they're on the telly, and every year we're all texting each other going, oh, wouldn't it be great if that was Marine on Friday night or prime time of a Sunday or on BT or whatever it might be. And every season we get to the first or second qualifying and we get knocked out, and it's just a little cycle. And then, like I say, it's just all of a sudden it's here, you know, it's here, you know what I mean? We've had a magic little run. So the very first game, we were, 2 minutes from going out, and they always say, don't they, about, you look at any big cup run like Liverpool when they won it the other year, Alisson had that save, and from where we were playing Napoli or someone, he tipped it over the bar. That goal goes in, it's over. You know, when we were getting beat 1-0 with about 2 minutes to go, and I can't remember, it was Wignall who scored an outrageous volley, and then I can't even think who the second goal was now.
Was it Josh Marnie?
Marnie, yeah, free kick, won it, Josh.
Yeah, Marnie free kick. It was
and then
Russian linesman.
And then the one, and then it, as everyone knows, we didn't think it was in on the day, and after everyone's looked at it, don't think it was in. But you know, you've got to have that little bit of luck, haven't you? You've got to always have that little bit of luck, and like they say, there's always that moment in the cup run where you're that close to going out, and you know, we've managed to scrape through that game. But then every game since then, we've just like someone said before, it's just snowballed. You look at the team on the pitch now, they play for each other all the time. They give 110%, and every single game. I mean, even tomorrow now, we're probably going to get beat, as everyone knows. You know, everyone's crossing the fingers. We're going to get a draw, get to extra time, get through on penalties, sneak a little 1-0 in the 90th minute. But you know what? We all know here now, and every fan knows, tomorrow they're going to go and give 110%, and they're not going to lie down for Spurs. And that's all we can ask of them. So, you know, if we get beat 5-0, 10-0, or we get beat 1-0, you know, we're going to be happy. But, you know, we've all got our fingers crossed that somehow we can progress, like surely today. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
Go on, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting about this cup run is you forget what teams they've had to beat on the way. It's been, you know, I remember when they beat Nantwich, that would have been enough for me. They were a very good team from the league above, you know, who I think when we beat them were unbeaten, you know, and you forget things like that. And we played them off the park that night. And then we've had a tough game away to Frickley, somewhere you never want to go, always a difficult place to go. You know, we've won a game on penalties against, you know, in a local derby. We've won. You know, we've beaten Chester, very very good team who are, I think, top now, aren't they? Chester, or second or third. So we've beaten some really really tough games. You know, and come through different types of games. And I think you're spot on when you say how they've played. They've shown different ways of playing. You know, they've toughed it out. They've played on the break. They've you know, soaked up the pressure, and they've looked class all the way through. But I would have, as I say, I would have been happy just beating Nantwich. That was a giant killing for me. you forget they're from the league above. You know that, and we've come up. There's been no easy games in this cup run at all. You know, it's even, you know, you could say, oh well, we got lucky to get Havant and Waterlooville. You know, another non-league team, but they, you know, look at what they've done in the round before, and they're two leagues above us.
Yeah,
so,
I'm full time as well still, aren't
exactly. So it wasn't like, you know, we've had easy games at home against lesser opposition. It's been a hell of a cup run. So yeah, I think it's been it would have been special even if we'd lost to Havant. You know, to win 7 games in any competition is an amazing thing. I mean, that's more games than Tottenham would have to win the thing, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So you know, it's an amazing run, whatever happens.
With you, Adam?
Yeah. So well, first of all, just to touch on something Matt touched, and I think his monologue touched on everything, was that everyone knows who Marine are now around the world, and everyone remembers Wycombe Wanderers with their run that they had, and Chesterfield with their run they had, Havant and Waterlooville with their run they had. Everyone's going to remember Marine with the run we've had, and this will last for years. One of the things that we've taken away from the FA Cup and going into some league games and the FA Trophy games is everyone's walking into them games. We're expecting Marine to get a result out of them. There was never going in with a hope and optimism. There's an expectation. Neil exudes expectations. His players play with a discipline and will sacrifice their game happily with the expectation that they can get a result. And that comes onto the terrace then. Everyone's walking in through the turnstile with the expectation Marine can get something out of it. Tomorrow against Spurs, there's nothing else to add what anyone else has already said, but there's still a little party that expects there could be stranger things have happened, because you know Neil's got that discipline. Then players have that discipline.
Go with you, Josh.
Yeah, do you know what? As made a good point there, isn't it? There's that little bit about, you know, we're not going to be scared. We're not going to take it lying down. Like, we kind of centre the tension way we after the first round, centre the tension again the second round. There's nothing that they're not used to now, to be honest. I don't think they're going to be scared at all. And you've got to remember, a lot of these players have come up through the academies of these types of clubs and stuff as well. So they've kind of come full circle now, haven't they? Where they're now back in the big time and playing against clubs that they probably played for or played against when they were younger. So yeah, absolutely. It's just been surreal, hasn't it? I mean, we just mentioned that it doesn't matter who we played this season, with just that expectation to win. And even like the FA Trophy when we played, was it Hyde? We beat them. They were awful. We beat them. Even Southport, they were awful. We just didn't click that day. That was the only problem. We just didn't click. I think that was probably the first time we've kind of missed Mo, if I'm honest, that day. Because they weren't much, and it is that expectation, and the league results that City, Liverpool, Boxing Day, if anyone was there, and didn't play brilliant that day, but we granted it out again. So yeah, it's just been pretty surreal, me, to be honest. And I think Jamie mentioned about Havant, like we played them last round in a team of full time athletes that they're on. I know somebody who works for the Portsmouth News, not going to name his name, and he basically said to me, there's some of them players who are on a lot of money full time, and they showed off the coach like a load of big time Charlies, and no, they weren't at all, to be honest. And again, it's probably that belief and discipline Neil's installed into them. My funny story from this, to be honest, so I missed the two games that we could have fans in. I missed both. I was in the Lake District for the first one against Barnsley, and then was at Nantwich at home on a Tuesday in October. I was in Cyprus for that. And so I sat by a pool around Cyprus, and little boy in the pool, and got talking to this couple, and they go, "Oh yeah, we're Colchester fans." And I was like, "Oh yeah, to support Marine," and they were like, "Bloody hell, who's Marine?" And then I remember the Monday at the draw, I was dropping my partner off in hospital to work, and dropped it off, and on the way home, I just heard my phone go, a messenger, and the lad Paul just popped up, and I was like, you couldn't write that. Like, it's not often you meet a Colchester fan and all, it's a lot less chance that you meet a Marine fan and all, and the fact that we drew each other, that was brilliant. So that was just a little FA Cup story, to be honest. That was quite funny.
I was just going to say, no one's mentioned the Colchester game yet, like, so
Yeah.
it's good that someone's mentioned that.
Yeah, that's it.
It was crazy, but he said to us, though, to be fair, he said, you can't beat us. He said, we're not a team of superstars. And I think he mentioned as well the fact that they were struggling through COVID and stuff as well, and financially and that. So they didn't have the best of players, and we went there and we didn't look out of place, did we, at all?
No.
So
we had about we had like 2 or 3 full internationals in the team as well, like, you know, looking at the squad. But,
I think that Colchester game is the biggest summing up of this team, because obviously we go 1-0 up early, and I'm in the front room, top off, swinging it around my head, going, "Oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening." And then I can't remember the top of my head, but they peg us back, and it goes 1-1. And was it in the second half it goes 1-1?
Yeah.
And at that point you think,
okay. At that point.
Yeah, you think, okay, we fought really hard, this is amazing, but our race is probably run here. It's like when you watch a horse running over the Grand National and they do really well and they get to 4 or 5 fences out and you go, "You've had a good go, lad, but you're not going to win."
And it's going backwards.
And it starts going backwards. But then the thing that says most about this team and about the manager and about the players and about all of them is that they just went, "Do you know what? Why not? We scored 1, let's score another."
Yeah.
And we arguably could have scored 3 or 4 more that day, actually.
Yeah.
We could have easily scored 4 or 5 that day. We had some really good chances that we missed. And
Who was it? Who was it who cleared the ball off the line in the last minute?
Oh, was it Jay Joyce?
I mean, that feels like a moment now, doesn't it? Because that was a hell of a clearance.
Just looped up, didn't it? I was like, "Oh no."
But you forget all these bits, don't you? Because you're totally focused now on Spurs. It's all about Spurs now, isn't it?
How many clearances off the line have we had in this run? So there was the one right in the last minute at Chester, the one at Colchester. It just shows the attitude of the team, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And just it is a never say die of, you think our race is run? Well, we're going to show you that it's not.
Yeah.
And there's sort of one of the things, there are a number of players that were really involved in this run that aren't going to be involved tomorrow. Particularly a man by the name of Mo Toure, who all my mates have referred to as that tricky lad from Salford. And they all keep saying to me, "Is that tricky lad from Salford going to play? Is he going to play? Is he going to play?" And he's not going to get a game tomorrow because Richie Wellens is a horrible man and I hate him. That's definitely not because I'm a Swindon fan as well, and he laughed at us.
I would love to see or hear Wellens justify to Mo. I'd love to just be a fly in the room and how this guy who's so well thought of at Marine, who paid such a huge contribution to get to this game, this once in a lifetime chance, and he's been brought back from the loan and he's not played a single minute competitive football.
Yeah.
I would love to hear that conversation of justification for that decision.
Yeah. And I hope to God he goes and makes it big, because he's got the ability. He's got the ability.
Yeah.
He could go and make it as a professional footballer. I'll be writing to Swindon Town in the morning to tell them to sign him. Though after a very good result today, maybe we don't need it. But he's not going to get his moment in the sunlight. And I think it's important that we highlight some of those players who've contributed so much, of players and the people around the club as well. In fact, all these people that have contributed to getting us to where we are, that aren't going to get that moment in the sunlight. Be that players, be that the people behind the scenes. I know this has put so much pressure and so much workload on so many of those people behind the scenes who, as much as we all will like to criticise the board sometimes, and we all have done in the past, they're volunteers. They give up their time to do this. And all those people aren't necessarily going to be the ones that get the moment in the spotlight. And that's sad, and it's the same for all of us lot and all of us that have gone everywhere that aren't going to get to go in and aren't going to get to have that moment. it is sad, but as you sort of said before we started talking, Jamie, it's almost more surreal watching it on the telly. It almost makes it totally different.
I'm getting used to it now.
I
Yeah.
remember
Being on the telly.
I remember listening to the Runcorn game on the radio because do you remember the weather that day? I just thought I'm not going. I know that's terrible, but I didn't go. And I remember this is great listening on the radio. now
we're going. Are we on Sky? Are we on BT? What are we on?
Wow, we've hit the big time. We're on the radio, and it was like.
Jamie, did you have the radio or their commentary?
Their commentary, sorry, yeah. But which was great. but it felt like, I think that's the first time I've ever listened to a Marine game, on the radio.
Yeah.
And that was amazing listening to a penalty shootout live, on the. And look, I mean, a few weeks later, we're, as you say, we're wondering whether we're going to be on BT or BBC.
Yeah. Going to go to the next thing then, Can't even believe I'm going to say this, but it's the preview for Marine versus Tottenham Hotspur. So Tottenham, they're going to be coming to a small pitch, freezing cold, getting changed in the bar. The young players are used to playing on Boss Academy pitches. The same with the first team. Tottenham won't fancy that, Marine. So give some optimism for the Tottenham game. So start with you, Matt.
I mean, the first question is, what team are they going to pick?
I don't want to upset everybody, but Mourinho in an interview today said there's only one under-19 player, and he's taken 19 first-team players, and I just went, oh no.
But I'm sorry, isn't that what we want? I watched Chorley today, and that didn't feel right.
Wasn't the same.
That wasn't a giant killing. That wasn't the FA Cup.
I think for me, it was usually in like the cup you'll have a mix, won't you? So you might have Dele Alli will be having a game maybe, and Joe Hart, and a couple of the ones who've maybe just been on the subject, and he'll mix it up a little bit. But Mourinho, and fair play to Mourinho, because he values the competition, and that's probably the biggest credit you can give to him. He values it, and he said, no, we're going to take the first team squad, and Gareth Bale is possibly going to be starting tomorrow, and that is just unbelievable. And does anybody see somebody tweeted James Joyce and said, how do you feel about this? And just said, what God, do you want me to put him in?
But joking apart, that's got to be the attitude. What I'm worried about a little bit is that it's all exciting and we're all starstruck, and that's fine. What I'm worried about is we're being a bit too nice. They've got to come here. They should be, damn right. They should be getting changed in the bar. They should be getting changed. They should be getting changed in the car.
Jamie, it's not just a bar. It's where Crosby Slimming World takes place.
But that's what it's like. You've got to. We've got to make it. What's the old famous sign at Galatasaray? Welcome to hell.
Welcome to hell.
That what our main plus point, the only thing probably that is going for us tomorrow.
Yeah. It doesn't have the same ring though.
Those conditions.
It doesn't have the same ring saying "Welcome to Slimming World."
that you meant "Welcome to Hell" when he said "Slimming World."
Yeah. So I think they've got to. Obviously, we're going to roll out the red carpet. I understand that, but that doesn't mean we pamper them. You've got to get in. You've got to get in their faces and make this horrible. It's got to be the sort of game that they don't want to play.
Yeah.
It's freezing cold, horrible conditions, and the conditions are fantastic. This is exactly what we needed: freezing cold, frozen pitch. Wind. Let's hope that wind gets up from the sea, and it make it. And if James Joyce wants to go in on Bale in the first minute, I'm all for that. That's what we've got to do.
Well, set the tone, isn't it?
Get the people in the garden, get them in the ear of Jose.
As soon as they cross that white line, then that's it. Then the battle starts, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm convinced we're going to score tomorrow. Absolutely convinced.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a free kick or anything, couldn't it? You don't know. Get those positions.
I've had a few little bets there today, and I've gone along the lines of Anthony Marley scored 5 goals in the FA Cup this season, or if it was in the league, or overall, 5 goals. he seems to score all the time. So I've got him first goal, Boyle Sport, 400-1.
Saw that.
And
Well,
I've also got Hamami, who scored 6 free kicks.
I knew this was going to sound mad, yeah.
Hang on, my 2 tips for tomorrow are Anthony Harley and Josh Hamami. Get on it.
I knew this was going to sound mad, yeah. Just listen, yeah. Everyone's watched Tottenham this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
And Tottenham play a low block and they counter-attack. When they haven't done that, like Palace, they struggled when Palace sat in. I mean, I'm clutching the straws, don't get me wrong. But do you think they might not be used to playing that type of, you know what I mean? Like having to be on the front foot kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Narrow pitch as well. You got to remember, I think Phil is right with the shout on the free kicks. I think that's so important. All we need is a free. You look how the goal against Havant came from. You know, you need a free kick. You know, anywhere within range, and you punt that ball into that area.
Yeah. Second balls as well, isn't it? It's the second balls in non-league.
And you know, and Cummins can and cause as much mischief as he wants. You know, elbows backing into everyone. You know, that's how you're going to score a goal against them, and they're not going to like that. So
I'm not sure who it was of our lot that said it, but we all said we should get down there, get some boots on, get on the pitch, crunch it up, get a fork, stick it, make that pitch as horrible as, get bobbles in it, get that ball off the deck into Niall Cummins' head, and just see what we can do. You're absolutely right. We can have all the niceties beforehand. We can all pat each other on the back. We can all shake hands or elbow bump in the current times, and we can all say, "Well done! Isn't this all very lovely?" But once we get over that line, first thing I want to see is that straight away smash them into them. Because the one thing we've got over them, they are, in terms of quality of football and everything, no matter who they put out, even if they put out their under-20s, they're going to have better quality. Better little passing and nice little tricks and flicks. What we can win, the thing we can win is the physicality. And we can win the tempo and we can set the tone of the game. And if we can do that, then who knows? As we all are very realistic that we're probably going to get bingoed. But if we can set that tone, and you're absolutely right when you say, JB, we cannot bow down to them. We cannot say, "Oh, hello, Mr. Mourinho, here's 3 goals for you."
Yeah.
No, I wrote Germano on them.
The first 20 minutes are crucial, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. You've got to set the
If you can
tone.
get through the first 20 minutes as 0-0, then your next thing is then half-time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
I
got to set
see
your
what-
stall out early days.
Yeah, I seen a good interview yesterday with Davey Fairclough and Jamie, you'll know, and Billy Smith, the Bootle. He was getting interviews and he used to play amateur football, but he was quite a good player. His nephew and to stand with us on the halfway line, and he said basically back in the day he used to get smashed into the wall quite early on, and he said it wasn't nice, and that's the type of attitude you've got to get. As long as it's a fair tackle, like you say, you've got to keep your discipline, but put them up against the wall when there's only a yard between the touchline and the advertising boards, or especially on the Jubilee Road, and they won't want to know, will they? It's not. So they're not used to that. They're under 23 level. They're playing on pitches, aren't that pristine and behind closed doors and stuff. So yeah, just get stuck in, have a go.
The only question I want to ask there then, just to follow on from that, Josh, is because we have got a Premier League referee and Premier League level officials, is can you get away with that in the way that we would at our normal level?
Do you know what? You've got a good point, because I think that the referees at our level are a lot more lean and hard. We know there's tackles thrown in, but I absolutely get your point, to be honest with you. It's like it reminds me like Hatton Mayweather. You went to Mayweather's backyard and he had his own referees, didn't he? And he just absolutely stifled him. And I get your point with that, to be honest. It's a very good point.
Referee tomorrow? Do we know?
Like Oliver.
Is it?
Oh, it's Oliver. Come on. We won't make a decision. Maybe we will get away with it.
That could work in our favour.
Yeah, can't make us mad.
Could have been worse. Could have been Anthony Taylor.
You know his wife's a referee as well.
Really?
I was reporting on an Everton ladies game a few weeks ago, and his missus was the referee, and she gave one player 3 yellow cards. So
So it runs in the family.
Clattenburg or Graham Cole that did that in the World Cup.
But no, it did. But it doesn't need to be. it doesn't need to be ill-disciplined. You're right. I mean,
No.
Exactly.
And-
You can do it the
and-
right
and-
way, can't you?
and tackling, and it doesn't always mean tackling or fouling. It just means getting in the face. Just making them know they're in a game early on.
Work them hard. You're not going to get this easily, lads. If you want to win here, you're going to have to work for it. Absolutely.
And we've got that small pitch, so you close down the space. That doesn't mean you have to foul someone. You just stick close to them. So
Yeah, they get less time on the high balls now, don't they, when it drops? So we'll see what happens.
What worries me is the pace, isn't it? I mean, that's one of the big difference between non-league and Premier. You get players who are, look at Son. I don't know if he's going to play, but my God, he's fast.
I mean, you'd
You've got
expect
some teams,
Mourinho.
sadly, you can run like 100 metres in 11 seconds, but then they've probably got 6 players who can run that, and that's the difference.
You'd expect Mourinho to set the stall out early, wouldn't you? Like you say, there, high intensity, loads of pressure, loads of pace, and they're going to bomb at us, I think, for the first 10, 15 minutes and see where they get, try and get an early goal, see if we'll roll over.
The thing
That'll be
you
the big
mentioned,
thing. Knock us out after 15, 20 minutes.
Well, that's going to be part of the plan, isn't it, I think?
Yeah.
I think one thing we've got though is fitness, isn't it? I've never seen a fitter team at like non-league level, if I'm 100% honest. I always remember my standout from Havant was Jay Joyce, and he won us that free kick, didn't he? That led to the goal, and this was our left back at the 120th minute of the game, running from pretty much our own box, 3/4 of the way to their half, and winning the free kick. And that stood out for me because that was like, bloody hell, this is like a semi-professional part-time footballer who's just done that.
Just
Important as well, I think, to test the goalkeeper. Have a shot when you're in range. Have a shot because we've got some good strikers of the ball there, and and it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult conditions as well. So have a shot. Don't be afraid to put your foot through it and see what happens, because I think you don't want to die wondering, do you? I think that you want to test the keeper early on.
I think I read an article, as well, about someone's like saying, how do we beat Tottenham? I don't know who it was, but Tottenham conceded about 3 or 4 goals from corners and free kicks, one against Liverpool, one against Wolves as well. So, get in the box, isn't it? I think that's
it was on the Athletic,
The Athletic,
yeah.
It's the standard thing, isn't it? When these type games, your corners, your free kicks, they're absolutely crucial, aren't they? You know what I mean? Get them. You've got to take your chances. You can do. And all right, you're not going to score every single one, but when you've got the likes of Marley there, who's had 5 goals this season, I think he scored 3 and 7 in the FA Cup. You know what I mean? He scored against Liverpool recently as well. So he's a big lad. You know what I mean? And you just got to take them chances. Hamami scored loads of free kicks this season. So, like you say, you need on the telly all the time, don't you? When one team's up against a much higher quality team, and they always go on about, you've got to take your chances. The free kicks, they've got to go into the right areas. The corners have got to go into the right areas. If you don't do that, you might be in for a long afternoon.
Yeah.
That thing
I love this optimism.
To wrap it up, because obviously, the board and the committee, we don't always talk about them, do we? But considering, as Jamie alluded to, we brought Neil Young in, didn't they? Which before they were always the easy option kind of thing. Obviously, the pandemic and all that, he tried to get the fans in as well, didn't he? And obviously, the magnitude of the game they're probably dealing with. I think we probably should give them a bit of praise on here,
Absolutely, 100%.
Definitely,
I was going to say as well, no matter what happens tomorrow, and hopefully we'll win in that, but the dramatic impact this is going to have on the club financially is I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the money, how the budget's going to change and stuff like that. Because I always remember back in the test my own football knowledge now, 2016, I think Lincoln went on that run.
Yeah,
and they were in the conference. And I always remember reading an article. They were saying they used all the money from the cup to improve infrastructure, training, and all this. And they went on to win 2 promotions back to back. And I thought, wow, what can we do at our level? So
if you look, a lot of the teams who do well in the FA Cup, or they win their respective league, they generally have a good season the following season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look at how many teams that they've done it. Stourbridge done it the other year, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think they had, it might have been 2 or 3 seasons on the spin where they got to the first or second round. Warrington done it a little bit further down the line, didn't he?
but it sways players towards your club. And we were talking before, touch on non-league players and the merry-go-round. You know, that extra £50, £100, whatever, it gets you the players you need, and especially for Neil, the players he wants, you know. So who knows? I'm excited.
I agree. I think the infrastructure is something that they've been looking at anyway, haven't they? I think for a couple of years. It's been like one of those, not so secret as such. So I think it'll be good to see things come to fruition, like in that respect. But yeah, just from like the level of planning and detail, and obviously like things I've seen, like fair play to the ball. Because like you say, the volunteers, some of them got their own jobs and their own lives and stuff. And dealing with, they're not just dealing with like happens Waterloo, they're dealing with Spurs. It's like a military operation to the second. I just hold my hands up to them, to be honest. It hurts my head just thinking about it.
I saw the new floodlights getting put up today, weren't they? Or something.
You know? Have you seen how bright they are?
You can see. Did you see Susan Nugent's picture from New Brighton from the other side? You can see them. It looks like a spaceship is landing.
No,
didn't see it.
Look at that.
No, we can't see that.
I think as well it's worth saying that all of the people that put so much work into sorting out tickets and doing all of that stuff, and for that then to just mean nothing, which I can imagine must have been horrific.
Yeah, the amount of hours that they've spent.
And it was working. And it was working, and it was working well. And it was all going to go, it looked like there weren't going to be any people who were going to get tickets that deserved tickets, and it was all going to go well. And then obviously what happens. So they put so much time and effort into that alongside all the other stuff, then that to just mean nothing. So it's another thing that, and again, we're all not shy of criticising where it has needed to be, but when you criticise, you also need to give them credit as well, and they've done an amazing job,
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think it's been short of praise. To be fair, though, you know, the likes of Richard, we know Richard Cross has put hours upon hours. He's almost lived at the ground to work. Same with Dave Mack and Peter Mack, you know, Jane Paul Leary. You know, they're literally living there at the ground at the moment. And I will say, I think a lot of people have been really appreciative of everything them people have done for the club.
100%.
And it's an exciting time now for us, because not only touching on what, like Mark was saying before, about the money that's going to come in from the cup run and how clubs traditionally, like Phil said, go on to do a better season next season. The infrastructure has changed so much with Neil and the committee have let Neil do what he's needed to do to get the structure right. It's already paid dividends now, so it really is an exciting time for the next few years. Marine are going to go places they've never been before, and I'm certain of that.
Yeah, defo.
We've got to remember as well, with it being, hopefully, fingers crossed, post-COVID, I think there's going to be a real enthusiasm for people going out and watching sport, because we've been starved it. You know, you look at the crowds that there were after the Second World War and the couple of seasons after that, massive crowds, people flooded out to see sport. And I'm hoping, you know, it can be a very positive time for non-league football, and people will realise, you know, it's a kind of use it or lose it kind of thing. So fingers crossed, you know, not many clubs do go to the wall, and you know, there's a lot of love for non-league football again.
Yeah, definitely.
I totally agree, mate. Yeah.
Surely we've got to do score predictions.
I just want us to score a goal. I'm with Phil on that. I think even if we lose 10-1, I just want us to score a goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to be incredibly optimistic and say Marine will win 2-1. Kyle Cummins 120 plus 3. That's my prediction for the game.
We've got extra time, haven't we? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's 9 subs. 9 subs on the bench, with 5 are allowed to come on as well.
Have we got 9? Have we got 9?
No, we've only got 8.
We've just signed David Lynch, haven't we, from Chorley? And that was the question I was going to ask, actually. We signed him on a one-game loan, couldn't we have done that for Torre?
I don't know if it was a one-game one, but the league's not going to restart, is it? So even if you take him for a month, the league's not restarting anyway. So
yeah, it was only because I thought it was the minimum term was a month, me, and then I seen us sign in for one day, and I was like, it's one game.
Yeah. I mean, I think the difference is, obviously, Salford are playing every week, aren't they?
Yeah.
So if we took him for a month, then he's away for a month. Whereas Clitheroe, they're not
Yeah.
going to play now. So the month won't mean anything. So it could be
Yeah.
a game or 2 games. Doesn't really matter, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Hopefully too.
Going to wrap up now. So if you got anything else to say, here's a chance.
Oh,
Everyone's going to do the score
We'll
predictions,
do the
aren't they?
score predictions.
Yeah, go on, do a score prediction then.
I've said mine. 2-1 Marine, 120 plus 3. Niall Cummins winner.
Go on, Mark.
I'm going to... What?
Go on, Mike.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Tottenham.
Uh,
But as long as we score, I hope it's 2-1 because it's better than 6-1.
go on, Phil.
Anthony Marley, first goal. Marines get beat 3-1.
Up
We're
there.
going to be leading. We're going to be leading for a little bit.
just a little sweat.
It's the hope that kills you.
Yeah.
Let's just, I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? It really doesn't matter. Let's just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Defo.
Are you doing the score prediction or not?
He doesn't want to, does he, look?
Sitting on the
1-0.
fence, isn't he?
1-0 Marine.
Go on, Adam.
I'm going to be optimistic and say 0-0 to penalties and Marine will win 5-4 on penalties.
Yes.
Go on, Josh.
It's safe to say I'm shitting myself. I think is what I'm starting to go on. I don't know. I think like a 4-1 Spurs. I don't think it's going to be the walkover people are expecting, to be honest. So I'll probably say like a 3-1, 4-1 Spurs. And like you say, if we score, I think that'll do us justice, to be honest. And if this is the last game of the season, what a way to go out. And it's just a shame we can't shout here, come on, Marini's a shite, isn't it, really? And then quit.
We've done an hour there without any swear words.
Dom does at the end.
I'm going to be optimistic and say 1-0 Marine, but
Yes, Smokey.
Excellent. Cheers, Jen.